Alright guys, here we go into another computer art and animation tutorial here, and what we're going to do today is get into animating a quote or a lyric or a message of some kind that you would want to send as an animation. So mine was the earth without art is just and simple animation here, frame by frame, and using art that we created in Pixlr. So let's get started and go ahead and get signed into Pixlr. And what the first thing you're going to want is to find a quote, or a lyric or a message that you want to say. So, and keep it to about 4 lines. You don't really want it to be too wordy or long. 4 lines is probably what you want to be at. 3 or 4 is a good mark. So what we want to do to start is actually let's utilize the stock search option in Pixlr, and I'm going to type in Earth here, and what that does is it just searches Pixlr's database of different stock photos that they have from different photographers, and so you got some really cool stuff going on here, and all of it you can use free of charge, and don't have to worry about copyright issues and things like that with these photos. So I could look at maybe taking something a little different. Maybe I'll go with this one. And I'm going to use the full HD option and click apply. So once I'm here, I'm just going to start by making some text layers. So click on the type tool, click on your stage area, your canvas, and then I'm going to type in the earth as my first text box. Click on my arrow tool, and I'm going to move that up to the top. And then back to my type tool, click again out here, and now my next box would be without art. And just going to move that up here, and you want to think about kind of staggering your text, maybe going in a diagonal across, maybe come straight down the middle, but going on diagonals across the stage is kind of a good way to do this type of animation. So the earth without art, just clicking again, just, and then again going back to my arrow tool, moving this out of the way a little bit. Last text box here is going to say F. ... And now what I'll do is kind of really space these out. Maybe I'll get one there, one here, and one here. And they're a little hard to read because my font color is gray, and on this particular background image the gray blends in a little too much. So I am going to go to my type tool, change the color of my type to white. So if you have a darker background image like mine, white would be a good choice. If you have a lighter background image, then something darker like black would be a good choice. You could do colors too if you want, but I think white and black tend to look the cleanest. But you can feel free to get experimental and creative with your colors as well. So each one of these I'm going to want to be a different font. So my first one, the earth, is going to be kind of a plain font is what I'm going to go with. Something that's not too got too many frills and things like that with it. It's a little tough to see it behind where I'm choosing my text right now. So I am, that's funny, I settled on a font that's just the opposite of what I kind of wanted to go with there. But yeah, actually this actually would have been a little bit more, I think, what I was going for. I did kind of like that though, actually. Oh, that's so funny. Um, Yep, sometimes, but it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to go with this for the font for the earth. Change the font again here for without art. So I kind of wanted this one to really be kind of more like a swirly sort of painterly type of font. There was one in particular that I had used before my example. Let's see if I can find it again. Yeah, I really wanted something kind of like jagged or brushy. Seems like this is getting hung up right now. Sometimes, I don't know if this happens to you guys when you're in here, the text menu gets a little gets a little laggy sometimes. So again, kind of turn this size up with this option here for this text box without art, and then I'm going to go with another one here, different font again. Again, it may be better to bump the size of these up before you actually start choosing your fonts, that way you can see them a little more clearly when you change them, because when you change them, you can preview it when you go through the menu. Is just, and so I'm getting there, and it's actually, it would almost be kind of funny to just leave that this small and in this font, but I probably will just leave it in this font because I want it to be very plain, you know, to emphasize the point of, you know, the earth without art is just And so now that this looks pretty good, so now we could get into the animating part. This is really all it is a background image with 4 text boxes on top. One other thing you may want to get into actually before we do the animating part is, if your words don't stand out enough, you could rasterize them and then add a drop shadow or an outer glow. So what I could do with this first one here, the earth, maybe you're thinking it's not standing out quite enough. If you want to add a drop shadow, what you have to do is go to Layer, then go to Rasterize Text Element, and you'll see it changes in this preview window. It's no longer a big T logo. It looks like the word. You cannot now edit this, what this says. I can't change the font. I can't edit what it says, but I can now go to Filter, and I could add something like a drop shadow or an outer glow. So if I add a drop shadow and I just pull this offset, you can see the little shadow kind of move, and then maybe the offset I push to that side. And so that can kind of help your text stand out a little bit more by adding those kind of things to them, a little bit of drop shadow action, you know, behind your text. So just to review that one more time, we would go to Layer and Rasterize Text, and then you can go to Filter and go to something like Drop Shadow, and then change your offsets here so that the so that it gives your text a little something extra to jump out with. You know, and so the other thing you could do is a glow. So remember, when you click on your text layer and you go to filter, you can't get these options unless you rasterize first. So layer, rasterize text. Now I can go to filter and I can go to something like outer glow. You want to always turn this opacity down really quick with the outer glow. It's really bright at first. Feather is kind of like the blurring of it. So I'll turn the feather up just a little bit, and then maybe the size up just a little bit as well, to get the good balance of that glow effect that I was trying to go for. And then say apply. Again, you might not have to do any of that. You might be just fine with your text standing out as is. But now we're just going to go into the animating part. So I'm going to make all these text boxes go away by clicking on the little arrow in the corner. Now what I want to do is go File, Save. I'm going to type in a name here. It gives you this file name of the image, your stock image that you chose. I'm going to do quote GIF 1. Okay, so this should be quote GIF 1, JPEG high download. Okay, when this goes away, I'm going to click close, and then I'm going to turn on my earth layer, and then I'm going to go File, Save, and we are going to delete this and go quote GIF 2, and then say download. Okay, and repeat for the same things for the other text boxes. So again, going to put out without art. File, save. I'm going to type quote GIF 3. Click download. I just have 2 more to do. And close that. Click on that layer to make it visible. File, save. This would be quote GIF 4, and then download. And then one last one to go before we upload to Google Photos and turn this into a animation, an animated GIF. So 5, quote GIF 5 would be the last one. Download. You know, if your quote or music lyric that you choose actually has an actual author, someone that actually said this, then or is known for saying it, you should probably put their name as kind of your last text box as well. But I don't think this quote necessarily has an actual author, so none required for mine. All right, so I got all those saved. I'll go over to Google Photos. When we're in Google Photos, again, you can get that from the grid if you're in your Gmail, or if you're in Google Classroom, just click on Photos. Now we want to upload from our computer, and we want to go to our Downloads folder, wherever that is, find your downloads, and click on your quote GIF 1, and then hold Shift and click on your last one to get all the ones in between, and then we'll say Open. And then wait a sec for those to upload into Google Photos from your computer. And we can X that. I'm going to click on this Create Plus button here in the corner, go to Animation, and then I'm going to click on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these pictures, click Create, and then drum roll for my animation. So the Earth without art is just, yeah. So there you have it, creating an animated quote, message, music lyric in a file here in Google Photos. What you're going to want to do once you're done is click on the 3 buttons in the corner, click download to download this quote GIF animation to your downloads folder. When you go into Google Classroom, you will want to click upload file from your computer, not from your Google Drive, because it is not there yet. It is on your computer. So make sure that you upload that file from your computer and you are good to go. So hope you guys have fun creating this text animation using Pixlr and Google Photos.